All right, YouTube fans, this is a continuation of 1984 Mercruiser 3.0. I had made a video, my last video, I said I'd follow up on what I was talking about when it comes to these lifters. So let me go ahead, now that you can actually see it standing upright. So we're standing completely straight up. The cover's back on now, you can see that. The dampener pulley's back on now. Everything's tied back up at this point. But what I wanted to point out right here. See, step one, anytime you're putting it together, step one is make sure you're at top dead center on the number one piston, which would be right here. This is the front of your motor. Here's number one, right behind this thing. You can actually see the piston wall right here. So that's number one. You got to be top dead center on that. Make sure it is. And then when you line up your timing marks, make sure you got your timing down here. You got your camshaft that goes about approximately right here. Then you got your crank right here. Your crank's got a little dot on it. So does the big camshaft wheel. Now the dot on it's a little strange. You gotta really look for it. So if you're half blind like I am, put some glasses on, find it. And you want those dots to literally match up just like this. Boop, boop. Just like that. So when you see the motor at an angle like this, that is exactly how your timing is gonna be. But anyway, so if you take this back to the how I do my valves. If you take this, put it at 0 or top dead center, and what I do is I take this and I divide it into 4. So 1, 2, 3, and then back up to the top 4, and I remember my rotation because I know as I come around, it's going to set off, it's going to turn off ruin my timing, because then it's going to be on the number 4 piston coming up rather than number 1. So to get it back to number 1, you spin it a second time, and that'll bring you back to top dead center again on number 1 for when the valves start opening. But anyway, as you divide this up, when I talk about zero lash, this is what you're looking for right here. You see these little push rods? Here's where you got your hydraulic lifters. They got little flat tappets. As you turn that each corner time, some of these are going to rise, so you're going to probably see like this one, and like this one start to rise, these ones will start to fall, and then you'll start noticing these slighter ones start to rise, and so on. But as you're going around, what you're looking for is, you're gonna feel these push rods right here, and you want to make sure you have zero lash. Like this one here, I can turn it by hand, but it's set. There is no play in the rod at all, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So as you're going around, you just do like a base tightening on these bolts right here, just to set your valves down. Now don't overdo it. You're just basically setting it so these little tappets are going to be sitting, in there, so you can start tightening them. So once you get to your first one, so you're going to go through on top dead center, start tightening up these until you have zero lash in each one of these. Spin it a quarter of a turn. Then what you're going to notice as you're coming around, you're going to get some that start getting really loose, some that start getting a little tighter, and so on and so on. The ones that are loose, tighten them up to zero lash. Spin it around again over to your next quarter turn. You're going to notice the ones that were probably tight have now loosened up. Spin it again, or tighten them up to zero lash. Spin it again. You complete that. Just do that cycle twice. And then what I like to do, I'll probably get called out on YouTube for this, which is fine. Everybody has their own way of doing it. My way's never failed me. So, if you got your own way of doing it, lucky for you. But my way is my way, and it hasn't failed me yet. Then what I do is I'll take these and I'll come back around in the second turn. I'll put it at 0 again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it in quarters. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Rather than it be in 90s, I divide it into 45s. And then I go back through these lifters again, and I make sure that they're tight again. But if anybody has any suggestions, on ways that they do it, I would love to hear it. But generally, I have my own way of doing it, just like everybody else does. You'll find your niche as you build more and more of these motors. You'll learn how to do these valves. First time I did it, in the first motor I ever built, it was very challenging. I did a lot of reading, but now I'm on probably motor 7. Now it just comes natural. You know what to look for. You already know how to set everything down. You can feel your torque tightness. Like on the oil pan bolts here, they all called for like 15 foot-pounds of torque. And I'm like, what in the world? Okay, 15 foot-pounds is a little excessive on these particular bolts because I broke these bolts before by doing it by what the book says. So create your own way. Basically, you're looking at something that's going to be equal tightness. So like me, for instance, I set them at 8 foot-pounds is what I set all these at, except for the front center, the front ones up here. Those ones I went to 15 because they're a lot thicker of a bolt. They're not these little 10 millimeter, bolts that are coming through here on the sides. So I set these at 7, I set that at 10, and I've never had a leak in any of my motors that I've rebuilt by doing that. But if you like my videos, like, subscribe. I'm always up for new suggestions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me the question. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And if I can't answer it, I'll have somebody that's far more experienced in mechanics get a hold of me, and then I'll get an answer for you regardless. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy my videos and have a great night. Bye.